So I'm super happy to invite Sahar Carmel from Flare. He's going to help us understand how to really turn up a notch and make yourself a real AI developer in your company. Hopefully I said it okay. So Sahar, thank you very much, and here you go.
All right. Hey, everyone. Hey, hi, everyone. Hey. Um, my name is Sahar Carmel. I'm a principal AI engineer at Flare. I've been using AI for like 8 years doing my job. I am an AI engineer in my studies. So when I came to Flare about 4 months ago, I've been using AI copilots for a long time. I think about 2 years with tab completion and stuff. But in the last 4 months, when the agent mode came and the edit mode in Copilot just emerged, I saw cursor, but I stuck with the Copilot. Um, I decided to go full on with the AI coding, letting all my knowledge in Python and all my expertise go away in some way, because um, I'll talk about it more briefly, but I always wanted to be an X100 or X10 engineer. Okay, so the workshop it's meant to be a workshop, but I do only the general stuff, and we won't code. But I try to be as much as close to to our work, and I try to show some examples for you, so you can just try to catch on after that. Okay. So in English, it's called AI First Coding Workshop, from theory to practice. ובעברית זה מחקלאי ל-AI, because I think we are really after the agricultural revolution, and I think you should too. Huh? In English, it will be from a farmer to AI. It doesn't translate good, but yeah, from peasant to AI. Yeah, okay. Um, okay, so let's start. This is the agenda we won't follow. But what is AI first coding for any of you who doesn't know? It's basically LLM generate most of our code. In my case, I think it will be around 100%, maybe 99%. And the communication is the key, because from programming in Python and programming in TypeScript or whatever, we are primarily programming in English, okay? And that's a big paradigm change that we need to adapt to. And I like to think of it of a new compiler, all right? Traditional compilers took some kind of code from C and translated it to assembly, for example. Now we're taking English and translating it to any language there is, any programming language there is. And there are some classical compilers are very deterministic. Every time you compile the same piece of code, you get the same piece of assembly code, right? But now I can generate 10 prompts, and I do it. I take like 10, not 10, but maybe 4 instances of Claude code, give them the same task, and go whatever they do, and try to in some kind of evolutionary path, I try to get the best outcome. And also, there are no documented rules about it, right? There's in C in GCC, you can go to Google, try to understand how GCC compile a C program, and you'll get all the documents. And we don't have it in LLMs, right? So I think the first thing, and what made me be so confident about can I use this compiler is my understanding of LLMs. The general, no, I don't know, there are AI engineers here? Okay, crickets. Okay. So, okay. AI engineer, like someone who maybe trained a neural network, maybe, or me, okay? So I think knowing how LLMs work might get you better working with AI copilots, okay? So I'm gonna give a quick brief. There is a great lecture or like a workshop with Andrei Karpathy, whoever heard about him. He also turned the coin Vibe Coding. He was the one. You should check his Twitter. But I'm going to take and do the really short course about how LLMs work, because in the end, or like in the middle of the lecture, my main point will be the context is king. Okay? Knowing to manage your context will make you a better AI developer. Okay? But we need to understand how context works. So first, who knows what is a token? Why are we talking in tokens? Why aren't we pushing characters? Like, what is considered a token? It is, but why? Yeah, okay. So I'm getting answers for a string of chars and a couple of chars. You know. That's good knowledge, but it's not true. Okay, so neural networks work with numbers. Okay, if you are trying to classify an image, we give the neural network a vector of the pixels values, we feed it, and we get dog, cat, or whatever, okay? When we try to do it with LLMs, you know what? Let's go a bit of history, okay? Our autocomplete in iPhone or whatever, we are saying like my name is, and we're getting some kind of auto-completion. How they are doing it, it's called a bag of words. They took all the text, all the English text, okay, and just statistically like measured what is the most probable next word. It's easy, right? If the most common word in US is Bob, when I say my name is Bob, I will most likely get Bob as the name. It's like very easy. For each word in the English vocabulary, it's about 300,000 words. We are getting, the number would be בעברית? Apparently not. um, so for every English word, we are getting the most probable word in like probability, 10%, 5%, whatever, okay? But if we're taking two words, there are 300,000 words, power of two, like combinations, right? Taking 10 words, whatever. That was the main obstacle that the bag of words algorithms had. And then came neural networks. So neural networks can take and try to take with attention some words in the sentence and trying to like how we also try and analyze a sentence, trying to find some connections, trying to find some the meaningful words for what we are asking. Okay, so that's the neural network. But we still need to we need to feed the neural network with words. Okay, but neural networks are still some kind of computer. Okay, and they need something that is not infinitely large. Okay, because there's infinitely large combinations of characters, AC, ACB, whatever, and we can't convert that to numbers. So what they did, they took all the text from all the internet, and this is like, there are engineers that work only on that, taking all the text, taking all the rubbish, and all the false information in the internet, and then they try to quantize it into some limited like number. Okay, we want to bring some sequence and translate it into a number. Okay, so if we are trying to quantize all the words in English, basically now it's in all languages, we get some kind of tokens. Okay, I'll show you a quick example. If we're going to tick tokenizer and we say hello, hello got a spatial token. It's not HELLO, it's got the number, this number, okay? If I'm trying to do hello space, I'm getting hello, the token for hello, and the token for space. If I'm adding another space, what we are expecting to have, another 220, right? Nope. Double space is this number, okay? Triple spaces is this number. With triple spaces with H, something weird. He took 2 spaces and took space and H and gave it a token, okay? When we are experiencing problems with this kind of behavior, when trying to give Claude or ChatGPT saying, give me a post in 300 characters long. He can't count characters. He's talking in tokens, okay? That's a problem. So just a quick note about that, because we're talking about we are going to talk about tokens, and we need to understand that. And what the LLM do, he take a token, and they trained it. This is the pre-training. This is the costly stuff, okay? When DeepSeek said that the microphone is inconsistent, it might be me. Yeah, I'm not used to talking to microphones, but I'll try. Okay. יותר קרוב? נראה כמו זמר מזרחית. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Just speakers need to train to use it later on. Train? Okay, I train. So, this is the pre-training. They took all the internet and started to generate the sequence or the statistical anticipator we are using. It's a simple machine that takes sequence of words and tells us what's the most probable next word. Easy as that, okay? So we're taking a token, saying to a neural network, this is the token. He's saying the next token is that, okay? And so on. That's how we generate those long sequences. What is the problem with this kind of behavior? If I'm asking the network, let's take the simple case, okay? If I'm going to take and search for zebra Wikipedia, okay? And I'm going to insert this sentence, probably I'm gonna get from the network, the next word is the, okay? It's pretty simple because Wikipedia also get heavy weight in the pre-training. And Wikipedia is also a big part of the training, okay? But what will happen if I'll ask how much is 1 + 1? It will not. Maybe in the internet, 1 + 1 will be associated with 1 + 1. What a wonderful equation. Many have talked with it, right? Some poetical stuff, okay? So that's how GPT-2 works. You give him a sequence of sentence and give you the most probable word one by one, but it's not very helpful, okay? When did we get the aha moment? When we were using the helpful assistant. You remember long time ago, about, I don't know, half a year, when you are a helpful assistant and all of this? So that's the pre-training, okay? Depicted here. They took some foreign workers and told them, this is the problem, okay? What is 2 + 2? And they said, for the former workers, the foreign workers, to just act as a helpful assistant. And that's why we get all these helpful assistant messages, okay? So they took a lot of problems like those. How can I hack into a computer? I'm sorry, I can help you. In Grok, it works. But why is the sky blue? Because of the Rayleigh scattering and stuff. And feed the network. And that's the post-training. When DeepSeek said that they trained the networks in like $5 million, they only referred to that one and they lied to us all. Like, there are Chinese here? I'm kidding. Okay? But they added a new token for the network. Okay? They added in GPT a token called like this.
מה אתה חושב? כאילו...
שתי האופציות הן סבבה, במיוחד שזה בשביל לחסוך את ה-2,000 שקל.
Some random sequence, but that tells the network that from now on, this is the place for the user to enter his input, okay? And when I'm saying as you can see here, this is like a system message, okay? I am start user, I am separator, whatever, I am end, okay? What happened when we are asking? We are inputting to the network up until this. And now it says, now the assistant talks, okay? But why context matters? Because when we are training the networks, there are some knowledge cutoff, okay? If the new version of React just came out, they are not going to train for every new piece of information in the internet, right? So there is knowledge cutoff, okay? So when we're using React, why is it always going to go to the I don't know, version 17? Do you get that? You have anyone experience that? So we need to control the long-term memory. This is the one, just a vague recollection of the internet. And we have the control of the short-term memory, okay? The short-term memory is what we as developers have impact on it. And this is our playground, okay? If we manage the short-term memory, we can help this vague recollection of the internet, which saw all of GitHub, maybe some of GitLab, maybe some unique blogs, and we need to tell him how to do that, okay? And that's what I'm trying to emphasize when you are working in your copilots, okay? So just a quick note. Let's say who uses less than 50% of his code, like generate less than 50% of his code with AI? Less than 80? Okay, everyone is 100 here? Everyone? Okay. Okay. So when I give this workshop, there are a couple of engineers that are very afraid of, okay? Maybe there are some unique company. I do want to emphasize how we can leverage AI to become very good engineers, okay? So first of all, many of you maybe have felt that you have more energy, right? Because instead of using or trying to understand the syntax and like the nitty-gritties, we can go above in a complexity. We are more elastic. Who have tried to program in a programming language that he doesn't know? Okay, okay. So here's the trick, okay? So everyone is trying to program in the programming language they know, okay? I want to tell you that you can go and do whatever you want in any language. That's the extent, right? If I am a Python engineer, I can do GUIs, I can do tests, I can do CI/CD, I can go and do any GitHub action I always wanted, okay? I'm working parallelly, okay? If I'm waiting for my agent to complete, I can do some other tasks. I can go on with a big feature that's taking most of my capacity, but can also do a little fix or a little CI/CD something or a more unit test. We can go parallel, okay? We are as humans pretty lazy. If you are struggling with a feature for 2 weeks, and my team lead said maybe we need to do some unit test, you would throw him out of the room, right? But LLMs, we are controlling them. They're obedient for now. We can go and multiply quality. We can do more unit tests. We can do multiple refactoring. We can tell them endlessly, change this function name, use this package, whatever, okay? We can do more iterations. I can go and do 4 agents working parallelly. Each one of them will give me a unique idea. I can test maybe 50% of that, but I can iterate more. If I'm doing my work and I just implemented the first solution, if anyone in the corridor will say, have you tried that? Also, you will throw him out. But now you can do as many iterations as you want, as long as the LLM are obedient, and they are now, okay? And that will make us maybe a better engineers. And I think this is some of the major breakthrough that I'm feeling, okay? Quick note, I'm using some tool called Klein. Wait a minute. Everything I'm going to show, you can do in Cursor, you can do in Cloud Code, you can do in Copilot, okay? Just as I said in the little talk we had before that, we're using Klein? No, it was like no. I wasn't a PyCharm guy before, and I think PyCharm is dead. We can say that. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'll tell you, you know what? Just a quick note about PyCharm, okay? Always hated PyCharm, but I'm trying not to be biased, okay? But I think now what PyCharm did gave us like a little bit more smoother experience, right? If I wanted to install a module, I can just click and write like, you know, like MATLAB. But now, as we progress, I think complicated UIs is less necessary, okay? I config my computer with Klein. I config my VS Code with Klein. I install packages with Klein, right? So the complicated UIs are less necessary. More than that, there are people using Ableton for music generation. They are also using Klein, okay? There are people doing 3D modeling. They're also using Klein. Why? Because UIs are meant for humans. And humans are pretty much unproductive species related to LLMs. Okay? So I think PyCharm had this glory of this is the most convenient tool, and people couldn't get out of JetBrains because of the conveniency, but now I think it's not just redundant. I almost never use this part of the IDE, really, okay? When I'm using Cloud Code, even more, okay? So this is why I think JetBrains is out of the game, but go ahead, like, keep with them. Yeah. Honestly, there was a question asking, when do I think Cloud Code acts better than Klein? I think it's Klein, by the way, but we can go ahead and call it whatever we want. We are Israelis. Honestly, when this is stuck, I just open a Cloud Code and put it there. Most of my vanilla projects I'm going to do with Cloud Code is faster. It's not like using an API key. I think they have some internal part that gives some priority for Cloud Code when we're using Cloud. Okay? We're going to talk about also models, but I think that. So vanilla, if I'm going YOLO, I'm using Cloud Code for arranging my computer. If I have a folder, I'm telling him just let's arrange it. I'm not a farmer anymore. And that's it, pretty much, okay? I also use Copilot, okay? I never use Cursor, but I also use Copilot sometimes. Copilot was, my main problem was that at 2 p.m. I was getting rate limits, and then I needed to actually write code, and I'm not a farmer anymore. So when I'm burning my company money, I can do it endlessly with Klein. It's an API key, okay? A quick note about models, and I think it's an important one. Not all models are born the same, okay? We have thinking models, and we have execution models, okay? And let's talk about thinking. What is thinking, okay? When we're talking about thinking, we have, after this post-training, we have also another post-training called reinforcement learning, if anyone heard about that. But what it does, it takes solutions, couple solutions, and try to fight with each other solution, trying to find the most perfect solution, okay? And they're training on it. Right now, people are developing a coding environment where LLMs go ahead, they have unit tests, they have like objective, and try and do whatever they do, and try to achieve the perfect score in that reinforcement learning environment, okay? Some of the environment are you, You guys, you go ahead and code with cursor, and you tell the LLM what is wrong and what is right, and they train on you. That's fine. We are cool with that, as long as we like benefit from it, okay? So when we are going and do a thinking model, we are gonna get more good solutions, a better solutions overall, but as I think that they are not good at execution. One little note, models try to probably add characters and not subtract characters, okay? If something needs to be subtracted to solve the problem, the model probably won't do it unless we tell him, okay? Because as I told you, models want to predict the next word. They want to add words to solve the problem, okay? So I advise you also to do a refactoring prompt that you are feel comfortable with it, saying we are only gonna delete stuff, okay? You need to explicitly tell him. That will give you a better refactor results if you wanna just bring your code to a more compact way, okay? So how I work, it's a personal experience of mine. I find it very useful. And it can be relatable to everyone, using cursor, using whatever. Just try to do your implementation of what I say if you find it useful, okay? Most of the times, in a real complex problems, I start with Claude. Okay, one moment. What models to use? Preferably, and I think that most of the LLM companies, the big companies, are going to focus on some part or some area that they are gonna like be expert on. Okay, GPT is general knowledge and some logic. Claude, I think, gonna do a double down on coding. They brought Claude Code, and their models practically are the best models for coding. I know which one do you use, but I feel that they are by far much more professional in that. You can also use 4.0 is a bit old, but can use O3 for planning, is also doing a good job. And Gemini 2.5 also doing a good job, okay? But execution, I always 3.5, mostly because it's a lot cheaper. You are getting less rate limits. You also have rate limits in the API keys, but it's more like executioner, less than a planner. Okay. So when I want to start a new project, I go and do some general prompt. Okay, but some interesting stuff that I input. First of all, Claude uses Mermer diagrams. That's cool because we as humans are not very good at intercepting or like understanding text, but visually we can understand more, okay? And Claude can do it very good. When using GPT, is just using dashes and stuff, and it's pretty, it's not the best, okay? I want to just one thing. The project is about analyzing all my code projects and just analyzing my velocity. How much I deliver, how much I delete, how much I like add stuff, okay? What the general purpose of it's a fun project that I try to do. Always tell him, ask me questions, okay? He wants to be a helpful assistant. If you tell him, go ahead and create my PRD, he will do it. If you tell him, ask me questions, he will do it. He's obedient, okay? But most of the time, we have stuff in our head that he doesn't know. He have no idea. It's like a blank person just came in the office and asking, what should I do? Okay? He needs to understand. So always I tell him, ask me questions. If something is unclear, let's do it iteratively. This is the most important step of your coding. If you're trying to do a new feature, as long as you focus on that step, telling him what to do, he will do a better job. Ultimately, I think of it like that. If I tell him, go to file, this one, go to line, this one, write this, he will do it, right? You believe me, okay? But I think that from that to just write this feature, there is a long line, and we need to always like adjust to where we need to be in the middle, okay? So I told him my PRD, and he asked me a couple of questions, and I told him some answers, and he gave me that, and I told him up front, can you create a memory diagram for this project? There is a cool feature in Claude, if you're using it, called artifacts, okay? I can go on and look at my version of the artifacts, and let me just put up the diagram. And this is something I can work on better, okay? Also, I can feed that to my cursor. It also understands memory diagrams. So let me just show you how I do it in Klein. And let me just present you something called the memory bank, okay? When I'm going to experience problems, I can have a perfect chat, perfect session, okay? He's doing whatever I want, and we are doing it fine. I gave him some examples, and he's doing it fine. Then I start a new chat, and then I need again to tell him that you are using React version 18 or whatever, okay? So the biggest problem right now is passing context between sessions, okay? And that's where the memory bank comes. And I think it's a very powerful tool for us to be less desperate when we're using code, okay? We can see it in Klein. They have a blog post and also docs about the memory bank. Ultimately, it's just a prompt. It's really just a prompt, but I'm telling him that every time you are going to open a new chat, you are gonna go and check the memory bank or kill his family, okay? But what the memory bank consists of, couple of files that just give him the general knowledge of what the project is about, okay? I'm going to give him a project brief. I'm going to give him a product context. Do you give your chat product context? Like, you do that? Right. Okay. So the product context is very, very important. The active context is important, okay? There are many faces to a repo, okay? But we need to tell him what is the active context, what we are working on, okay? So we can focus also on the parts in the code that is most relevant. I'm giving him system patterns, how we use, how our design system works, okay? What is the tech context, the technologies we use, and I also give him progress. Why? Sometimes in Cursor you can go ahead and do a very long chat, but it has some problems. But sometimes we need to end the chat and start a new one, okay? And before that, every time I close a chat, I'll tell him, update the progress. Tell us what you did, so the next chat, who doesn't know the last chat, can go ahead and start from there, and we don't need to do all the setup for the next one, okay? And if you have a new repo, we are not farmers, we can tell the LLM, go ahead, do a deep research, and create this memory bank for me. We can adjust him, but like that, we can do like a overview of the repo. This memory bank can be team-wide, okay? If someone is working on some kind of service and the other one is working on this service, we can do a memory bank for each service. So everyone can enjoy this information, okay? So in Klein, I think the cursor has it also, it's called ask mode. In Klein, there are two modes, plan and act mode, okay? In planning, he doesn't write code, okay? Only when I give him the act mode, he's trying to write code. I think, and a lot of times, I don't know if cursor can go from agent mode to ask mode in the same chat. Okay, so I advise you, when you see that he's stuck, okay, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and you're using 3.5 Sonnet, go ahead, transfer to ask mode, give him the 3.7, tell him the problem, and give the smart guy do all the thinking, open your thinking window for a larger window, and then go to the 3.5 to solve it, okay? Most of the time, it can do a really great job. I've had I added another tool called tasks. It's in the memory bank. Basically what it does, sometimes like I open a new chat and I'm trying to develop a new feature or fix a bug, but I can't fix it right now because me as a person can only concentrate on one thing, okay? So I'm managing my tasks in a dedicated folder that the LLM builds, okay? I'll show you how it looks. It has the original request. This is the prompt I gave the LLM. And also the thought process that we did. So I can like very quickly go over tasks. There is a tool called Taskmaster. If you heard about it, it's in Twitter. It also does that. You can also check this out. But like that, I can go ahead and like structure all my tasks and I can give it like that, okay? Also, in your planning phase, I advise you to tell the LLM to break the task. Not that. The other prompt. When I know that the architecture is good, I'm telling him to the task to as little task as he can. Okay? LLMs and in their context window in Claude there is about 200k 200k tokens. It's not much. It's sufficient for a bug fix, a big feature. We need probably 3 windows of chat. Okay? But we need to manage that context. I don't know if Claude can show you how much context you have in the chat session. I'll show you just for comparison. You can see right now I'm about at half of the context window of my chat. What problems can the context window bring? If we tried some solution several times in the same context window, okay, and we are telling him try something else, probably it will bring the same solution. Why? Because most of his context window is filled with that solution we have tried. He can't get out of it because that's the short memory. It's very stupid. You need always to remember that, okay? So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling in a loop, open a new chat, git stash, try a new one. It will probably work better than just trying to get him out of that session, okay? So that's another thing that I do a lot. Just something small. This API cost me $2, okay? You are paying $20 for Cursor. I spend pretty much in every day between $10 to $30, okay? How Cursor can manage that? I think, and that's just a personal opinion, but I investigated a little bit, you should try too. I think that Cursor does a lot of optimization and trying to cut your cost so they can spend less, okay? And I think you should try to go ahead and work with an open source tool just to understand what it means when we are just fully open in our performance. This costs more, really. For our team, about 5 members, it costs about $300 a month, okay? But I think the performance are greatly improved because of that, because we are not obliged to some optimization that the Cursor do. We don't know in Cursor when he's doing like compact, doing taking all what we did and just compacting it for a summary, and that can degrade our performance. So I don't know, for everyone in that Zoom, if it's possible, you should try that. I think it's a great tool. The last thing that I'm gonna mention, I think we have like, I don't know, 5 minutes? Okay. Just nothing about MCPs, okay? MCPs are tools that we can enrich the short-term memory of our agents, okay? The first one I'm gonna present you, something called Context 7. Context 7 is a tool providing up-to-date library documentation. If I'm going to do feature with a new package, I'm going to tell him, in the architecture, in the planning phase, go ahead, bring the relevant documentation, and then start. Okay? And if Python developers here? Yeah, okay. So I like to use UV, okay? And most of the internet use pip, okay? So every new project I do with Python, I go ahead and tell him, go bring UV documentation and use that, put it in the memory bank. And then each time it want to install a new package, it uses the UV, okay? So use that. It can help you in many ways. If you are using some, I don't know, open source project, you can give him the open source project. He can go ahead and crawl the project and give you the relevant documentation. And it's very wonderful. I want to give you some quick, you can also connect Notion, Apple, Superbase, whatever, WhatsApp, okay? I use it for GitHub. If someone I have a PR and someone wrote some comments on my PR, I go to the MCP, tell him, go bring the comments and solve them. I don't need to solve the comments. Okay, cool. It's strong one, okay? Another one that I'm using is browser use. If you are using and building UIs, this can be a very powerful tool, okay? If I'm doing like a CLI or a backend thing, I can go ahead and bring and give the agent unit test to go ahead and test them, right? See that if he's doing a good job or not. But if I'm doing UI, I can't. But with browser use, if I'm telling him how to bring up the front end, he can go ahead and go over my UI and test that, like your QAs, if you have one. If not, he's your QA, okay? And last thing, you see there's also a Blender one. Last thing, client can use your browser, the one that you are also logged on, to do stuff. Okay? So when I do my shopping at Shufersal, I give him my grocery list, and he go ahead. I don't need to log in because I'm already logged into Shufersal, and he goes ahead and do stuff on my behalf. Okay? That's something that I haven't seen in any other tools. It's called remote browser connection. But when you're using browser use, you're using some testing Chrome, like a Chromium or agent, but this one uses your Chrome, and it's very powerful. You should try that. Just some less words. I think that if you're using Copilots a lot, I think that I'm planning and I'm trying to start building my own Copilot, because I think that customization can be your companion. You can do it. You can do it in vibe coding, actually. And those tools are not very complicated, really. There are a couple of prompts. They're showing you some stuff, okay? If you're very confident about the models, you can also program without seeing the output, okay, as long as the unit tests are good. And I think that will be the near future for us if you are going to do a double down on that. That's it.
Yes, I would like to ask.
קליין עשו משהו מגניב, הם עשו MCP marketplace. אז בשביל איך MCP נבנים, אתה נכנס פה לרפוזיטורי, ואז בתוך הרפוזיטורי יש כזה MCP installation. We got a question about the MCPs and if it only in client. So no, I think Claude also has, no, it has MCPs for sure, okay? I think Claude like have a limit of 4 MCPs or like 40 tools, because each MCP exposes a number of tools, okay? So I think Claude has like a limit. But You can install your MCPs for Claude. It's the same thing. It's a JSON file, ultimately. I'll show you. It's a JSON file with all the configuration of my for my MCPs, okay? And you can go ahead and install them. They are very helpful. Okay, they are very helpful. You should try them. If you are a backend engineer, you can do an MCP for your Postgres or Mongo, whatever. And if you're doing a new endpoint, the MCP can go ahead, get the schema, and then also have more knowledge of your repos. And you can also do like a widespread work for MCPs traveling your UI. You can have MCPs connecting to your Notion or Jira or whatever. Like if you want to update your Jira tickets and stuff. So you should definitely try that. It gives a lot of powers for your copilots. Ultimately, just a API, but something that LLMs can work with, and they can, because APIs are something deterministic, and tools can be used in more ways, okay? So the MCP explained to the LLM what should he do with that API endpoint, okay? And also like arranges all the connections. It's a socket one, okay? But you can also have remote ones.
So Trika asked, in terms of data privacy, if client or room makes any manipulation of the code data before sending to the AI vendors?
As far as I know, it's open source. If you are not using their credits, I think it's a straight path to the API provider and then back to you. I don't think it has a gateway or something that it goes in between, but it's checkable. Like check it. But I think it is.
All right, and Andre mentioned about security and MCP. This is something that we will do. We have a knowledge on security and all a bunch of ways to do that. So, yeah, we will try to create some follow-up presentation about it.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much.